I got a problem
Well,
with that.
I mean, there's a lot of things you got a problem with, Dom, and I do too. Yeah, I'm up in the Black Beverly Hills. You know what I mean?
Oh, you're in Bald Hills.
Hey,
man.
Hey, listen. One of the best jokes I heard. They had this lady who was talking to this guy who was say a player, you know, and
right.
he was talking about, hey, yeah, I got a Lamborghini, I got a house in Baldwin Hills, you know, I got this $250 hairstyle. She said, it sounds like you got a lot of bills.
Right?
Hey, you know how it is. The more you own, the more you owe. You know.
Yeah,
that's what it boils down. I mean, even if you pay your house out, you got to pay the taxes. You got to pay the insurance. You know, and you know, there's something to be said about, you know, like the first shall be last and the last shall be first. You got billionaires can't even find a way to spend their money now. They ain't got what is money right now when you can't go nowhere to spend it. You know.
Right.
You're 100% right. Man, yeah, because if you have like you just buy a $2 million house and you buying that, you know, you got a mortgage, man, you don't have a $2 million house, you owe $2 million to somebody.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
And the irony of that is you never see that $2 million. You say, oh man, I'm a millionaire. Yeah, right. You a millionaire, but where's the cash, you know?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
That brings us to a big subject, man. What's going to happen to cash money, man? You know, I mean, what really is cash money right now, you know? Because, look, it started off with the airplanes. You know, you get on an airplane and they say, oh, we don't accept cash, you know? And
right.
With this pandemic stuff that's happening, bro, hey, the transfer of money, you know, hand transferring money is a big thing that they got to consider, you know?
Right.
That itself would spread the virus.
It's funny that you bring that up because I've been paying attention to that too. Like, what's really going to happen with money? I mean, because the whole thing is the Federal Reserve, right? They keep printing more and more money out of thin air. So that means the more money you have in circulation, the less its value.
Yeah, the devaluation of right.
Right. So then it's like you really are devaluing the currency. So people who saved a lot of money, like you might have saved like whatever amount you saved, whatever. Now it's worth half of that. Man, you're in a bad place.
Well, let's bring it to another point. What's going to happen if they call in cash money?
They already are.
Yeah, exactly.
They already are. They're saying they don't have any change.
Right.
You know, there's change.
Well, if they call in cash money, then if we go all like digital, like you know what they forecast, we're gonna go all digital and everything's gonna be, you know, digital money. Then the government's really gonna know everything you do. They're gonna know everywhere you spend your money, and man, you're really under their thumb.
Well, you know, it's kind of like whatever you do in the dark will come out to light. You know.
And what you mean by that?
Well, it's kind of like it's gonna be transparency. You know, it's like you'll be under the watchful eye, you know, the seeing eye all. Let's just look at overall what's happening with social media. Mm-hmm. I mean, what we hearing about has been going on for decades, but now it's more in the forefront because, you know, there's so much more of it being, you know, filmed and transferred, transmitted, you know, so it's nothing new about what's happening, you know, the Black Lives Matter. Okay, we know how the inequality of how the system is. We've been knowing that, you know, but it's coming out more and more. We've been knowing how to have paper lynching as far as, you know, putting people in minorities, putting them in jail when, you know, basically the white privilege has always just slapped them on the hand and took some of their money and let them go, you know. So I'm glad that this whole movement took a turn, whereas it's out in the focus now where everybody can see what's going on and we can start addressing it, you know, and addressing it in a way to make people aware, alerting the people who's been oppressed.
But you know, I've been watching something. So like I was paying attention to the whole Black Lives Matter movement. And what struck me as kind of weird is whenever you see these big rallies and whatnot for Black Lives Matter, it's mostly not black people out there. A lot of times it's people that are not black.
Yeah,
so I'm wondering, is this like some kind of like sleight of hand? You know what I mean? Like, look over here while I'm doing this over here, because something about it seems a little bit off to me. Like, who's really in control of this whole Black Lives Matter movement? And how come the people who are out there protesting aren't even black?
Well, you know, there's something to be said about that also. But there's a lot of opportunists out there too, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, you hear about a lot of these protests, and then all of a sudden there's looting and whatnot. And, you know, they know these movements are taking place. The protests are being taken place at certain areas. So they just go target that area and say, well, let's disrupt that. I mean, you know, we could just cast, you know, a bad shield on this by creating this looting and stuff while it's going on, you know?
Right.
It's kind of like when, you know, Rodney King, the verdict happened. You know, half of the people out there that were looting and stuff like that didn't even know who Rodney King was.
Right.
But they took the opportunity to capitalize on what was going on, and
capitalize on the situation.
Right, and just like this pandemic, I mean, a lot of people, you know, was out there looting because, you know, they didn't have any source of income, and they figured, well, we can grab these tennis shoes and go sell them on the street or whatever, you know. Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, that's true. Yep, that's true. It's a weird, seems like we're in a weird place right now. Like, I'm not old enough. I mean, I wasn't born in the 60s, so I don't know about that outside of, you know, history books or what older people tell me. But I'm wondering if there's some like strong similarities to how people felt, like this, the emotion of it. And right now, like, is it almost the same, or is it different this time?
Well, I mean, it's almost the same, you can say, for the simple reason how, you know, minorities been oppressed, you know, and treated as an unequal species, you could say, unequal race. And the fact that, you know, they had to go through in the 60s as far as the recognition and the right to vote and, you know, enter into places that, you know, had black people working, but they couldn't go there to buy any food in restaurants. And, you know, it's done in a different fashion now, although they give you a lot more, but you're still not considered on that same level. You're still a second-rate citizen, you know?
Yeah. Yep. I'm with you.
But at one point in the 60s, you know, it was cool, you know, to be black. The whole Black Panther and, you know, Black and I'm Proud, you know, that kind of thing. It kind of was like a crossover. I mean, you could say, because, you know, you had white people growing afros, you know, white people trying to dance. White people was basically trying to be hip, walking hip and everything else, you know?
Yeah.
So, but now, you know, let's move over to the hip hop generation, you know, and the hip hop generation, you know, I mean, it was more or less like started off with a political message, you could say, you know. I mean, you could go back to the Last Poets. I mean, you remember them?
The Last Poets?
Yeah.
I never heard of them.
Well, the Last Poets were more or less like a group of black men that just address social injustice and that kind of thing. You ever heard of, you know, like Brian Jackson and Gil Scott-Heron?
I heard of Gil Scott.
I heard of Gil Scott. Gil Scott. Yeah, he had he's a musician, right? He's the guy.
He's dead now.
Right.
Yeah, he was well, Brian Jackson was the musician behind it, and Gil Scott was more or less like a political activist, you know, kind of more or less like you know, Stokely Carmichael and all those guys, you know. So, yeah, he just used you know, the entertainment world to bring across, you know, political messages, you know.
Right.
But, so that was like the beginning of hip hop, you could say, you know.
You could say that. Yeah, there's a definite distinct correlation between the two for sure. I'm thinking of Gil Scott. He had a song I just played not too long ago. I think it was titled
The Revolution Will Not Be Televised.
Detroit. Huh?
The Revolution will not be televised.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Detroit.
Yeah.
It's
He had another song about Detroit too. It was tight, man. That dude was real talented.
Yeah.
Well, he did a thing called the Watergate. Well, it was The Revolution Will Not Be Televised.
Yeah.
I think that's the most famous one. Yeah. The revolution will not be televised. Like, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. So what do you guys think? Like where do you see things going? Like in society, like okay, in every when something bad happens, there's always or when there's like some change going on in the world, something bad is going on to try to create something better. There's opportunity, right? So, you guys have any ideas, ideas about, or can you maybe forecast and see something that maybe a lot of people don't see? Like, where's going to be the niche? Where do you think the next avenue could be to make money that people aren't thinking about?
Well, for one thing, we know even when jobs are not plentiful, and high unemployment, and during the time when they had wars happening, that one thing always happened was that people wanted to go to the movies, and it was a big entertainment thing,
Right.
And with all of these different productions that's going on, all of these multi-faceted stations streaming and whatever, I think the whole thing that will come to focus is that if you can bring messages out or provide some sort of entertainment, that's a very viable niche that you need to get into,
Right.
There's a higher power, and the ultimate builder. That's what I call God, the ultimate builder. If you think about it, man, everything he did was built on love,
Right.
And, hey, listen, let's face it, man, everybody's a builder. When you go to eat, you build a sandwich, so that's it,
That's it.
Hey, but speaking of that, this is what I was thinking about that. Like you said, he had the devil in him, or his spirits were clear. I think that the interpretation of what like the Bible and other holy books said about spirits and stuff, or in particular like angels and devils in somebody. I think that was a way for them to explain to the common man about neurological processes that are happening in your brain. Because I think those angels and demons are thoughts, but also entities that
of course,
that interact through your brain. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when they talk about the angels came upon him, I don't think it was something from outside. I think it was in his mind. If our connection to our spiritual self is in our brain, then that's where we're going to interface. It's not going to be outside in our body. That's just the third dimension. That's only 0.1% of reality.
Well, that goes to show you that whatever you do has to be thought of first, and when you speak it into existence, there we go with that, speaking it into existence, even God himself, he let there be light, and then boom, light,
Right.
Let there be man, it's kind of like, it has to be in your mind first before you bring it into existence. So saying that, he had that in his mind, and it's kind of like the devil's on one shoulder and the angel is on the other.
Yeah.
And in your ear on one side and in your ear on the other. But who you going to give into,
Like the cartoon, one on this side, one on that side.
Right, yeah.
But man, I don't know, Adam. Like, you're talking about like science in a way. Like you're talking about like coming at it from a scientific perspective. But man, sometimes I think people really do have demons in them, like a real demon, man. Like
what's a real demon? What do you mean? Not in your brain. What do you mean?
Well, I mean, your brain is just like an organ, like your heart. Your heart's is an organ and it pumps the blood, and your brain processes thought. But I mean, like, where are those thoughts coming from? You see what I mean? Like how do the thoughts get into your head? Your brain is making the thoughts.
Learned behavior. Everything is learned behavior. You come here not knowing nothing, jack. The only thing you come here doing is crying and wanting something to eat. And everything after that is basically learned behavior. That's why I don't buy into this kind of stuff about, oh, you born that way. You know, it's choice. I don't give a care what you how you try to label it scientifically or whatever. It's choice. You choose to wake your ass up in the morning and go to work, or you choose to stay down in the bed and not do shit. You know?
Okay. Yeah.
So it's choice, man. You know, and those thoughts are part of learned behavior. You pick that up as you grow.
Learn behavior.
Yeah, and whether you pick up the good thoughts or the bad thoughts or what you give into, you know, it's entirely up to you. I mean, there's a lot to be said about what we have and what God bestowed upon us, and that's free will and choice. Right. Even Jesus himself came down. He did not stop people from sinning. He just tried to direct them on which way to go and how to treat each other, you know? But he didn't come to, you know, basically get rid of evil, you know, because evil still exists. Evil was upon him. The devil told him, look at you. Why don't you jump off this cliff? You could improve
it. Yeah, you're trying to make him prove it.
Look, the system is here because we pay taxes. That's a given.
Right.
You know, and you can't get around not paying taxes. You go buy something at the store. You know, you paying taxes. You supporting the system that's, you know, prevailing. You know,
property taxes.
And you know, the bottom line is, what are we? More than anything else, we're socialistic slaves. That's
exactly right. I agree 100% on that. That's exactly what we are.
That's
100%. I'm with him 100%. I'm with you 100% on that.
So what's this bullshit about?
I can't say that about myself.
Yeah,
but we are, dude.
We are
slaves.
Look, hey, Dom.
No, I reject that.
You can reject it all you want.
I rebuke that.
I rebuke that shit.
Hey, Dom.
Hell no. You're not making me no slave, Caesar.
Hey, I'm gonna talk to you right now. Let's be realistic, okay? Right now, you got your lights on in your home?
Yep.
Do you have lights on?
I have lights on. I have one light on.
All right. You're using this system that you're talking into right now, right?
What do you mean? This is my computer? Oh, the internet? Yeah. I don't own the internet. This is true. I see where you're going.
You're indirectly supporting the system that is part of the socialistic slavery that is in existence.
Nah, fuck that.
You can rebuke it. You can rebuke it.
I rebuke the hell out of that.
You can rebuke it, but that's what it is.
I don't like it.
I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back to the pimp days. You know, I don't buy no. You know, I don't buy it. Right.
I don't buy
next
no
thing you
cookies.
know, he got to go take her to dinner. He got to go, take her to the movies, or take her to the dance, take her to the bar. You know, but I ain't spending my money on no woman. Oh yeah, what the hell you doing?
I know, huh?
In actuality, he spent more.
Yeah, right. That's why I don't do that, Caesar.
Yeah, okay. Then that's why your ass is still by yourself at your house. You know,
I wasn't by myself last night when it counted.
Oh shit! Hey.
When it counted, I want to be left alone right now. That's my choice.
Well, every now and then a squirrel finds a nut. You know. So.
I like to keep mine stored away in the tree so I can use them when I want.
Oh shit!
I got a problem with that. with that.
I mean, there's a lot of things you got a problem with, Dom, and
Back to what you said about what we think it's going to be like in the future.
Yeah.
I think there's one or two scenarios. I think it's one or two scenarios. I think either one, because there's two technologies that are about to change everything, and that's artificial intelligence and blockchain. and the combination of those two with quantum computing. Quantum computing with AI and blockchain is going to change everything. It's either going to enslave us completely or it's going to set us free. That's the two things I think. So, you know, in 10 years, 20 years, maybe less, maybe 5 years from now, we're either going to be freer and on our way to complete freedom, or we're going to be completely plugged in and under the thumb. Everybody, even worse than it is now.
Well, Dom,
I think.
Dom.
Right.
You know the saying, the truth shall set you free.
Mm-hmm.
How do you discover truth?
Meditation.
What about communication? What about transparency?
Right.
That's a big part of it.
Right.
Because
that's true.
The bottom line is, if you are held accountable, because it's all about accountability.
Right.
No matter how you look at it.